and welcome back to Algebra. In this episode, we're going to talk about basic factoring. And in algebra, that's going to become a little bit more difficult than it was in your previous math classes because you're not just going to be factoring numbers, you might be factoring variables as well. So generally when you start encountering factoring in algebra, you're going to be given two values and you'll be asked to find the greatest common factor. Now you're going to do that the same way you would with numbers, except you're going to have to include the variables as well. So let's say you had two values such as 2x squared and 6x squared. Okay? For your greatest common factor, for the number, you're going to do it just the same way you normally would. You'd have 2 and 6, and so the greatest common factor would be 2. Right? You could divide 2 by 2, and you can divide 6 by 2. So that would be the greatest common factor. For the variables, you're going to have to find the highest similar exponent for each variable. So in my example here, I've got 2x squared and 6x squared. So since x squared is the highest variable for x squared is part of the greatest common factor. Now obviously you're going to have more complicated examples than the one I just gave, but that's generally how things are going to go. You're going to find the greatest common factor of a number the same way you've always have, and then for a variable you're just going to find the highest exponent for each variable that's the same for all the different terms. And that's generally how you're going to be finding factors in the beginning. Then they're going to take one more step and add it to it, and that is that they're going to give you maybe a polynomial. So let's say, going off of our last example, 2x squared plus 6x squared, and they're going to say factor this polynomial. What they're asking you to do then is to find the greatest common factor and then divide it into each of the terms in the polynomial. So we found our greatest common factor in our example to be 2x squared, and so we're going to divide each part of that polynomial by 2x squared. 2x squared divided by 2x squared is 1, and 6x squared divided by 2x squared is 3. So what you would do then is you would take 2x squared and move it out in front of the polynomial. You would put the polynomial in parentheses, and then you're going to divide each term. So 2x squared divided by 2x squared was 1, so you got 1 in the parentheses, plus 3, which is what 6x squared divided by 2x squared was. You can simplify that one even further by adding 1 and 3 together and getting 4. So you get 2x squared times 4. Okay? That was obviously a really basic example. However, that's generally the process for how you're going to start with this basic factoring. There will be more advanced factoring than this, though. That's just your general ordinary factoring, and we'll be doing that in the next episode with some special instances of factoring that you're going to have to do in class. But for now, all you're going to do is this generalized factoring just to start off. So remember, you want to factor the number just like you always have. Greatest common factor, what's the highest thing you can divide both numbers by? For the variables, for each letter that's in each one, find the highest exponent value, and that'll be part of the greatest common factor as well. I hope you're learning and enjoying your algebra class. Thank you very much for joining me. I'll see you in the next video for some more factoring.